Yes. There she is. 2 years ago? How long ago was that?
I think that was, so that was 2 years ago, at least in my age when I filmed that.
Okay. Yeah. You want to take us through, like how did you even become someone who was in the documentary, and like how did the whole process come about?
It all just came to me. Quattro Cinco, a wonderful member of the Hex community and an OG, he messaged me and asked if I wanted to be part of a documentary that they're making about cryptocurrency and Richard Hart, and have a lot of Hexicans in it to tell a story about this being the future, and really share this movement with the world. I'm like, wow, that's I was honored. I'm like, I can't believe I got asked to be part of that. So
Yeah.
yes, I accepted and got connected with the filmmakers, and they did a phone call interview with me just to see kind of my story. And then I flew down to a location that we would be filming the main interview for. And then a couple weeks later, I flew to Portland to do some of the outdoor scenes as just background footage. And it was cool because Nerd Girl was also entering as I was exiting. So it was just fun to say hi to her. But
Yeah.
it was really cool for Quattro Cinco to really get the ball rolling on this, because the filmmakers, he got put into, he brought it all together. That's my understanding. But yeah, it's really cool that our community was able to put together something like this, and I can't wait to see the actual film. Even I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's I think one of the most anticipated documentaries. I know I'm trying to even I don't I watched the Coin documentary recently on Coinbase and with Brian Armstrong, and I mean it was for crypto documentary for like a nerd, just like whatever. It was fine. Like a lot of people, if you compare it to this one I think is going to blow it out of the water. But just in general, I was like, okay, Coin. I know more about Coinbase. And Brian Armstrong, very very interesting guy. But this documentary, it seems like how would you categorize it as far as? I mean, do you think it's going to win some awards? Do you think that the direction they went in, the people that got in it? I guess what are some of the things that you're just really high on for the documentary, as far as just how it came out and how they shot it and just the ideals and what you can share on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, to address the first part about awards, I'm not sure the qualifications for how they determine what gets awarded, but you could just see in the trailer how epic it is. The whole mood of this trailer is just like epicness and
Yeah.
challenge between struggle and prevailing, and the censorship and the freedom. It's just like all of it rolled into one epic ball that'll be a fantastic cinema. So I would definitely give it an award. Although I haven't even seen it yet. I've heard little bits and pieces from everyone who is interviewed for this documentary, and some of the events they did and filmed. So I kind of have a little glimpse, but I'm not really seeing the full picture.
Okay.
And when people watch it, they'll a light bulb will turn on for a lot of people just because of the censorship that Hex had gone through for the first 3 years. I mean, even up to this point, and it's just all part of. I guess it's a microcosm of the grand awakening that we're all experiencing around the world. And so a lot of people would probably invest in Hex at that time once they see it. I know Richard Hart had said something like, they're still trying to get it past the Netflix reviewers to get it onto Netflix. So, I mean, that's probably, the people who run those kind of platforms, it doesn't surprise me that they're still trying to get it past them, just because Hex is,
Gatekeepers.
Hex is a product that has freed so many people thus far and has made a lot of good people wealthy. And that's like that's such a powerful weapon. I mean, some of the people up at the top do not want to see that. But it's going to happen anyway. Like, I feel pretty confident in that.
Absolutely. And maybe you too, would be interesting to hear. So, did you shoot a couple scenes? Like, I guess, what was the process like? You went to Portland. It sounds like, they did. Was there like a script, or did you just like kind of like go off of your experience in Hex, or did you get to choose different things to talk about, or how was that whole experience?
Sure. So Patrick was interviewing me. He was one of the filmmakers, kind of like the visionary.
Hmm.
And then I just got sat down in that chair right there, and he was off to the corner, and yeah, and then the camera was in front of me, and he was asking me the questions, and I kept wanting to talk to him to answer them. He's like,
Uh-huh.
"Look at the camera." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." He said it nicely, of course, but it's just,
Right.
couldn't help it, but he just started off just asking me a bunch of questions that he had, or that he thought would be good for the film, just really trying to pull pull the juice out of me, like, the drama that would make people go, "Oh, wow," such as the part with, like, "I've made enough money in the last week, I could buy a
Yeah.
house in cash." So that part
Yes.
actually, um we actually like, he asked me, like, 6 different times in different forms of questions to get that piece. We're
Mm,
kind of dancing around it because it's not something I would naturally say. It seems more
yeah.
of like a brag.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually gonna be outtake, like, I didn't know that was gonna be part of the trailer. I was just kind of jokingly, mockingly, like, saying it back to him, like, "Oh, yeah, right?" And then they used
That's
that.
awesome. Wow. I'm glad they did. Like, that seriously is one of the highlights of the documentary. Uh,
Well, when I see it, I'm like, "Wow, that's cringy," but if it helps get the viewership up, then it's all for the best, right?
it gets the people going, just like the Will Ferrell meme.
And then,
Yeah, that's go ahead.
no, if you're gonna say something.
No, no, absolutely. Go for it.
And then he asked me my story of how I got into Hex, and then I told the whole story with the amazing ski cat, and that was very like an emotional part. So I'm sure that'll be in the film, and then just I think what I envision for the future. So just all the good things that are coming. But yeah, he had it all laid out pretty much with the direction he was taking it, but it was very malleable, the conversation, so we just lead off into wherever we were going. And hello everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome.
A lot of fans in the chat. They're glad to see Cryptygirl on the stream, Crypty on the stream. Yeah, that's is there anything, I don't know. It's hard for me to even ask about it. Not like just knowing without being there. I'm always curious. Just the filming sessions and the style and the crew. I guess, was there anything interesting you could talk about as far as just um, maybe on the process, or maybe did you have to come back and do more takes, or did Patrick talk about, oh, this is gonna be really good, and you saw the trailer, you're like, whoa, I didn't know it was gonna be that good. Like, anything notable?
That it did kind of blow my mind when I saw the trailer. That was long before the trailer was public. Um, so at the end of my interview, I was kind of let down. I'm like, "Why?" I feel like I really didn't express myself the way I would have liked to. And so Patrick then said, "We want you to come back and do a follow-up." I'm like, "What?" I'm like,
Mm,
"Why do you want me to come back?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, your part was huge." I'm like, I'm just a young girl." And he's like, "You also balance out the film because
mm,
you provide like a lot of goodness in a space where are more concerned about material items and gaining like Lambos and just money and parties." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And it all the process was very quick too. Like by the time Quattro Cinco had messaged me, I was on a call with Patrick the next day or two, and then it just took me like 3 days, and then I'd flown down to the filming location, and then just 2 weeks later, I was off to Portland to film some of the background, um, just extra footage. And we didn't have time to film anything else, but we also knew that the film would be jam packed with so many people and cool things happening that we don't need any additional things. But I was just honored, honestly, that they even wanted me to film more. Yes, very cool. And the whole film crew, they were so genuine and just wanted me to feel very comfortable. When I arrived at the filming location, they had all these pastries laid out and like water and things and they were like, "This is all for you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Do you
Wow.
need anything? Like a notepad, pens? Like we can have him go run to the store and grab it for you." I'm like, "Oh, I'm good."
Wow. That's cool. That sounds like a very, very fun, unique experience. I couldn't
It
imagine.
was super cool. Super cool.
Wow.